Alright, evening folks. Phil Gallagher here for, not Death and Taxes, but a donation deck list. So we have received a donation tonight from Jerry F., I believe, for Applejacks. So in case you are not aware of this legacy stalwart, Orcish Lumberjack lets you sacrifice a forest to add 3 mana of any combination of red or green to your mana pool. So you get to sacrifice a land to Black Lotus. Now that's not bad. That means that on turn 2, you could potentially natural order off of playing a Dryad Arbor on turn 2. Or you can go and play a Titania on turn 2. You can also get Archon or Primeval Titan on turn 2 if you play Mox Diamond as well. So as far as a ramp card goes, this is pretty insane. And at the lower end, if your opponent uses a removal spell on this, that means that some of your other annoying threats actually might get to stick a little bit later. So we have some toolbox elements in that we have Blast Zone, Bajuka Bog, Dark Depths, Stage, Sajiri Step. So we have some toolbox elements, and the Green Sun package has a few tutor targets: Dryad Arbor, Elvish Reclaimer, Scavenging Ooze, Knight of Autumn, and then some big fat scary things. Felchmaster, thank you very much for your continued support as well. So I said if we got another 3 subs tonight that we would do another Thursday stream next week, and we're already 2/3 of the way there. So looks like Thursday streams are popular and wanted. Our sideboard is mostly combo hate. If you look at the main deck here, it's super, super fair. There's no Chalice of the Void here or anything like that. So we're largely just looking to outgrind and attack fair decks from angles that they can't deal with. Jazzy, I don't remember getting that. Did you send that via PayPal? If you want to send me a message via email or Twitter or something, I can look into that and figure out what was up with that, because I don't remember this at all. Yes, Jerry, I will be uploading this to YouTube. It'll be up later tonight, probably about an hour after the stream is over. So no worries about that. They always go up on YouTube afterwards. Yeah, let me dig through my PayPal tonight and see if I missed that. I'm not gonna do that while live, but I will 100% look at that. It's possible I got that when I was just totally sick and just clicked through the email or something. But my apologies there. We'll get that sorted out. Okay, going back to my previous thought, the sideboard is mostly for unfair stuff. So we have Leylines, Thalia, Blasts, Teagues, Collector Oof, Force of Vigor, Veil of Summer. So most of the stuff that's here is going to be for our unfair matchups. For our fair stuff, November 12th. November 12th and I missed it? Jeez. Okay. Alright, I'll get that sorted out, and that'll be the next thing that I play when I find that. So I'll find that. So some of these things can be for fair fights as well. Force of Vigor doesn't always have to go over something crazy like an Omniscience or a Grindstone or anything like that. Sometimes it's fine for equipment. But Swords to Plowshares is basically the fair card that we're looking to board in. But we don't have too many things we need to board out versus fair decks. We're going to go over the top of a lot of them. Yeah, I'll certainly edit it and update it for the times at the very least. All right. So we want Legacy League. Did I blow my play points? Yeah, I played some bad decks for daily D&T. So let's crack a couple of chests. Five play points, not what we're looking for. Need to go bigger. Need to go bigger. 10 play points, technically bigger. Vampire Nocturnus might be exciting to open in paper, less so here. Wormcoil Engine might be worth something. Don't think Terra Eternal or Victory's Herald is going to be, though. Darkest Command might. What's this? There's too many new cards that I don't know. Noble Hierarch, that seems like a whim. Alright. There's my 100 Exact play points. Let's play some Legacy. Oh, this has appeared over here. Hope things are going well for all of you. Well, we'll talk about my life later. Let's talk about Legacy now. So this is, like, so not exciting. But I don't think I just throw back the hand that, like, naturally has Dark Depths Stage and a way to protect it. So I think I'm going to keep this one. This is not really how I expect any other hand in this entire league to play out. Because, like, we're not just about YOLOing this combo as quickly as possible. And it's pretty rare that we have two one-ofs in our opener that allow us to, like, keep something that looks like this. We also have Crop Rotation for Bog available for if our opponent is playing something cheeky. Alright, quick basic check. What am I playing? So it's 1 forest, 1 plains, no mountain. So if I want to play multiple basics, I need to go and play... Like, if I want to have forest plains, I need to play plains this turn. Is anyone else getting poor microphone quality here? Romario, maybe refresh my stream? So since I don't want to draw my basic forest, I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. So I can green sun for up to x equals 2 here. But I think that's suboptimal. This seems pretty strong. Let's just take our time walk effect where we can get it. I mean, I'd rather you say something than not. In my early days of streaming, like, I went like 10 minutes of streaming before someone was like, "Hey Phil, we can't hear you," because I like had accidentally hit the mute button. So I am 100% all about like people double checking to make sure everything's okay. So my opponent probably doesn't have very many outs to this Merit Lodge. They might have like an Ensnaring Bridge, or something like a Brazen Borrower isn't necessarily like totally crazy either. And I'm probably just going to go for the 20/20 on their turn. I could wait for 20/20 with protection, but I don't know that that is actually going to be worth it. There are things that can change that. But given how much mana my opponent has access to, I would very much like them to just be dead. Yeah, that's fine as is. If they can get one more mana, it becomes scarier for me. Alright, there's Ensnaring Bridge. And I unfortunately have my one Knight of Autumn in play already. So I can't just Green Sun for it. Alright, do I have another main deck out to that? Not really. No, I can tutor up Blast Zone and remove it that way. Or I can Punishing Fire kill the Karn. Or I can Natural Order for Archon of Valor's Reach and make it so they can't cast stuff that's in their hand. Alright, so what am I doing end of turn? It's not exactly Maverick. Check the Cardboard Live extension on screen. This is a deck called Applejacks that's going to do some similar things. So if I Crop Rotation, I can put a counter on it immediately. But it might just be better to Green Sun for something. And I'll lose... I kind of want to gain mana rather than lose it, so I don't think I want to make my 20/20 yet. Alright. So I'm going to go off of my Plains plan. Crop Rot my Plains. Get Blast Zone. Put a counter on Blast Zone. So my opponent has 2, 4, 5, 6 mana currently. So I do need to wasteland my opponent off the City of Traders so that I can't just get Karned. Or can't just get latticed. So opponent looks like they're playing a combination, like, Painter, Grindstone, Karn, Underworld, Breach shenanigans deck. Sure. My opponent drew a blast for turn. Things get awkward real quick. Yep. Nothing really to be done about that. So I can cast Green Sun for X equals 1 or X equals 2. X equals 1 gives me my Reclaimer, X equals 2 gives me Scavenging Ooze. Neither is necessarily great. So now, Life from the Loam, getting back my Blast Zone is a great out to play towards. I can also just play a Knight this turn and just have that act as a piece of mana acceleration. What is Scattered Grubs? Cycle end. Hey, welcome. Playing out Knight means that, like, I have a realistic threat where if I can, like, keep some cards in my opponent's hand or get to Karn mana, I can actually, like, do something reasonable. Alright, Grandmaster, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the legacy content here. Alright, so my opponent Karns with no targets. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, Green Sun for X equals 4 this turn. It's X equals 5 that starts to matter, X equals 6 being much better. So we'll plan on activating Knight, probably sacrificing my Dryad Arbor. And I'll just play out another Knight. The Knights are going to represent lethal damage if I can take the Karn, or sorry, if I can take the Ensnaring Bridge off the board. So I don't have anything that can interrupt this that is a land. All right. That's a touch unfortunate, but hey, so it goes. What do we have to bring in versus this deck? Red Elemental Blast is kind of humorous. Force of Vigor is probably good. Teague is probably borderline. It's going to shut off Karn, but it's super awkward with our own Green Sun. Collector Oof is going to be an all-star. The Blasts and Veil of Summer do things. And interacting with my opponent's painters are probably good. So these are probably things that I'm going to be thinking about. It's kind of like Loam. It's a deck called Applejacks. So I think the Punishing Fire is going to be pretty weak. They don't kill Painter Servant. Those are going to be the first things to go. Ooze is good enough to stay in case my opponent is playing some of the recursive red cards, like Goblin Welder, Goblin Engineer, those sorts of things. Probably not a Maze of Ith matchup. Probably not a Sajiri Step matchup. It can do things, like it can stop one of my creatures from getting blown up by a blast if my opponent has Painter, but I think the opportunity cost of playing the tapped land is very much real. And then we'll just make a trim somewhere else. Like I could see just cutting an expensive card. Oh, no, we have a 61 card main deck. Never mind. Deck building's perfect. Alright. So I get Mox Diamond, Pitch Caracas, Grove, Green Sun for X equals 1 to get a Reclaimer. Any land lets me play a turn 2 Knight of the Reliquary. Otherwise, I have Force of Vigor for 2 of my opponent's permanents. This is probably good enough to keep. And Grandmaster, am I playing your deck or is just Jasper playing your deck? Sorry, I missed that message a minute ago. Actually, straight up, do I just want Dryad Arbor so that I can get turn 2 Knight guaranteed? I think I do. I overpaid for my Dryad Arbor. Elvish Reclaimer isn't nearly as good in this deck as it is in something like Turbo Depths. Must feel good to be the Applejacks guy. I always have a lot of fun when I play this deck. I don't necessarily do so frequently. This was a donation deck list, but I've probably played it 3 or 4 times on the channel. Nice, nice. So, next turn we're going to make a very very good board. I'm looking forward to that. Aww. Never mind. We draw land, though. I mean, technically, that is a land. So that's what I asked for. However, it's not the land we're looking for. I'm going to get my Dryad Arbor beats in to not 100% just like hard telegraph that I have Force of Vigor in my hand. I don't know Nyx Bloom Agent. Oh wait, I have to do exclamation mark card, then that. That is a 7 converted mana cost card. Uh-uh. Like, I think the Primeval Titan in this deck is too much mana. So, not really on board with going deeper in terms of converted mana cost. My opponent has hit nothing off of their Emery. My opponent has Brain Freeze, too, as well. So that was not just a, like, value-oriented, whatchamacallit. Blah. Underworld Breach. I did this poorly. I should have bounced this during my turn before it had the chance to activate his activated ability, but there's nothing in there right now, so it shouldn't matter. Emery finds another Lotus Petal and LED. That's all fine and good. Alright, so if I cast the Primeval Titan, I can find both sides of my combo. Otherwise, I can just, like, greens... Can I green sun for the Archon? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can green sun for X equals 5. The Archon is 6, right? Yeah. So next turn, I can probably cast, like, keep my opponent from casting any spells. I have options this turn. I could also just, like, green sun for either Scavenging Ooze or Yadok Teeg this turn. Sort of a strange spot. Because if I tap out for Prime Time, I'm not bouncing Emery. Not bouncing Emery means my opponent can have access to, like, double LED on their turn. Which is potentially scary. So I think I don't hate bounce this. Cast the green sun for x equals 2. Get the collector oof. That shuts off these. And then I just bash in for 6. Rip my Mox Diamond. It means we have a harder time actually casting the Primeval Titan that's in our hand. But our board is good enough to just kill my opponent in a couple of turns anyway. Sure, you have a Painter Servant. I could just, like, exile that thing and continue to aggro in. So I have 5, 6, 7, I have 8 damage if I just, like, exile the Painter Servant. Pitching my prime time. That's probably fine. Don't think we can realistically lose from here. Difference between 2 and 3 here is very marginal. I guess if our opponent had something that did 3 damage to all creatures, that would do it. Alright, so we've seen a few more things from our opponent now. Now we also know that they have, like, the Brain Freeze kill in their deck as well. Do I want to go, like, Leyline levels of deep to fight my opponent? / do I want fatigue in? My opponent has a very weird house of cards over there. Yeah, Teague stops some of the angles my opponent is attacking from, while also stopping many of my best toolbox cards against them. So I don't know that I'm actually supposed to board in the Teague. Like, I'd be way more inclined to board in a Leyline than the Teague. So kind of the question after that becomes, like, what would I board in if I board out if I boarded in 3 Leylines? It would be like Life from the Loam, Primeval Titan, 1 crop rotation. But crop rotation is already graveyard hate. So maybe not crop rotation. I could also just do like this and play 3 Leylines. I guess it's also not crazy to play my Thalia. Like, part of their deck is a Storm deck. There's all these Planeswalkers. The Thalia is worse on the draw. Everything's kind of a mess. If I board this in, these definitely get worse. Crop rotations are also kind of wonky. Cut one of those. Cut one of those. Be very uncertain about sideboarding. Huh. This is a hand. How many green sources? I'll count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's not good enough. It's a lot, but I don't think it's good enough. This hand, though, I think I'll keep. I have my first 2 land drops, and then I have Life from the Loam for everything after that. Turn 2, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So I could, like, Green Sun for something large, or just Life from the Loam. I think this hand is going to be good. I'm going to toss back my Wasteland. No, that's not true. If my opponent leads on like some of the Ancient Tomb, City of Traders type stuff, having access to the Wasteland is pretty strong. I think this can go back. When's the last time you fetched a Taiga? Be honest. Be honest, chat. When's the last time you fetched Taiga? Have you ever fetched Taiga? He is a lumberjack. He cuts down black lotuses. Four-color Breach Freeze. Yeah, prior to this, I haven't played a Taiga since the last time I played Loam. Alright, I guess I fetched a Taiga probably in December. If not December, then November. So the thing about Veil is, in this matchup, it's only going to do something if my opponent has Painter in play. Otherwise, it's probably not doing a lot. Alright, is my opponent just going off with LEDs? Is this deterministic? How many? So it's 3 cards. So they brain freeze themselves. They only have 5 cards in graveyard. So they brain freeze themselves. They get 8 in graveyard? No, 6 in graveyard. Or no, it's 3 copies. So it's 9 cards in graveyard. And they have 1 mana floating, so then they use 3 of that. Yep, alright, this is deterministic. We'll go ahead and scoop here. I don't think my opponent's deck is good. I think they have, like, too many pieces that they can just, like, draw the wrong sides of. But I'm not playing generic answers, so I don't have things like Daze, Force of Will, Thoughtseize to, like, punish them. So, like, I had to very awkwardly sideboard, as you saw. Alright, we are playing against Reanimator. We have a crop rotation. Are we just going to die on turn 1? We'll find out. If we don't die on turn 1, life's good. If we do die on turn 1, you know, life is bad. Howdy, howdy. I do think we will be relatively favored against Reanimator, though. Like, we have ley lines, crop rotation, like Thalia's. So my opponent is just going all in on Chancellor. That's not actually all that bad. I beat that pretty handily. Okay, so I have a Chancellor trigger from the beginning of the game, and then all my spells cast 1 more. So next turn, I can just crop rotation for Chancellor of the Annex. I need to just play something this turn that clears it, so that means I need to play this Green Sun, or the Orcish Lumberjack. Green Sun later will get Scavenging Ooze. So I'm going to play Orcish Lumberjack and put that into the graveyard, and then we get a creature if our opponent were to cast another Exhume. Hey Jasper, your deck seems very strange. I feel like if your opponent has generic disruption, like Thoughtseizes, Dazes, and whatnot, you're not particularly well suited. But if your opponent has like very specific, varied hate cards that only work against each portion of the deck, I feel like you do well. So like my sideboarding against you, it was very awkward. That was kind of my impression I had of your deck. Alright, so opponent doesn't name crop rotation here, we're golden. Opponent will probably be relatively confused about what is going on with our life. They have named Lightning Bolt. We got them, they were confused. What do I want to crop rotation away? So it's a question of, like, do I need multiple color cards, or do I potentially want to try to set up this combo? I think I'll be fine with rotating away Thespian Stage. I think? Punishing Fire is not doing a lot. I have another green mana here. Maybe I will keep this, because a Merit Lodge can beat through that if need be. Let's go Grove. I mean, Underworld Breach is a very powerful card. So I don't hate, like, experimenting with the card at this stage. I'm just skeptical about a lot of the 2-card Monty decks, essentially. I think that's what they call them, right? Where you're, like, jamming, like, Painter, Grindstone, Leyline, Helm into decks together. I've always felt like those decks were very awkward. And not more powerful than, like, a deck that was dedicated to one of the strategies. We're going to be playing a very slow game. A very, very slow game. But we're safe for now. Like, my opponent only has one card in hand after this Cabal Therapy. That's not bad. I think I need to play out my thing that has... my land that has Summoning Sickness. I mean, obviously, I understand that your deck is going to be slightly more consistent than, like, the traditional 2-card Monty, but I think they're conceptually going to be cut from the same cloth. So I can cast Green Sun for X equals 1 and get an Elvish Reclaimer now. I don't hate that, because then I can keep Elvish Reclaimer mana up and prevent my opponent from getting another creature. It is expensive, though, and doesn't get me too far. But I kind of... it's either that or just, like, wait a turn, but next turn we can, if we drew a land, we can just Sylvan Library anyway. So I think this route is fine. This is kind of the time where we wish there was a Painter's Servant in play so we could get an Orcish Lumberjack and go ham. So now I don't have another thing to go and get. So at 1 mana, I just have, like, the Elvish Reclaimer and the Dryad Arbor. So this other Green Sun isn't doing much until I get another mana. So we will just hold up an Elvish Reclaimer activation for this turn. We may end up just, like, turning our Maze of Ith into Dark Depths and just trying to, like, not trying, just, like, comboing off. Hey, hey, welcome. I'm getting over a sinus infection, but otherwise life is okay. So now I could green sun for x equals 2, pay, but I think I'm just going to pass the turn, make a Merit Lodge, and then get Sajiri Step on my turn. And just murder our opponent. That sounds pretty okay. Legacy's pretty fun right now, in my opinion. I'm enjoying the format. There's a little bit less Oko, so I don't feel like all the decks that I'm playing are just totally invalidated anymore. Yeah, I would love to play some 4-color Loam. So right now, for my next 2 streams, I've got them queued up. I've gotten a donation for the Oko Loam deck, and I've gotten a donation for Splinter Twin. So those are queued up. After that, I'll go back to my usual nonsense. Hey, welcome. I think it's Heaven. Heaven is when you cast Primeval Titan, right? That's how that works. All right, so our opponent now is on Reanimator. So Thalia is good. Leyline is great. Veil of Summer probably falls into the, this is good enough category. Just you tried to discard me, aha. I draw a card instead and stop it. Who would grab a Caracas? Honestly, who would do that? And we can also consider Swords to Plowshares as well. So, easy cuts from our deck. Punishing Fire is bad. Life from the Loam is probably medium at best. I can probably cut the Primeval Titan and have this as my natural order target. I can probably cut the Blast Zone. It can nab Animate Dead, but that's a pretty corner case, and we'll probably leave Night of Autumn in the deck for that corner case anyway. Yeah, so I think it would be pretty reasonable for me to trim 1 more land. I could see trimming Grove. I can also see trimming Sajiri Step. I'm going to trim a Grove, I think. And so then our next question is, are all of these worth it, / do I have too much top end? So, it's maybe reasonable to cut another finisher. And then I'm 1 card over. I could just play 1 Veil of Summer when I'm on the draw. I think that's better on the play. I think I'm going to ship this hand. It's interesting because I can represent an extremely quick combo, or destroying my opponent's land, or having swords and maze to deal with their creatures. But I think a Leyline hand is probably going to be stronger than this. And this is also the sort of hand where if my opponent just thought seizes into Cabal Therapies me and I lose these Mox Diamonds or something, I probably just lose. Yep, this is fine. We're going to keep this, and I'll ship 1 of my Leylines. I think. So there's an argument to just ship the Mox Diamond instead and play out the hand a little bit slower. It's just awkward since this comes in tapped. If my opponent is playing Reverent Silence against me, kind of in the dark-ish, then it hits both ley lines, but if they're just playing something that answers one of them, having both is good. And I don't know that they're going to board Reverent Silence against me thinking that I'm a leyline deck. So I kind of just want to keep all of my cards and pitch my Mox. This is awkward because I only have one real mana to work with, even though I can hit 2 land drops. Can't cast you, friend. Although I appreciate you being here. You're the linchpin of the deck. As soon as we get another mana source, we'll probably be looking to send away our Maze of Ith. Nice. But that can happen next turn now. We are now set up to do things. What things, you might ask? I don't know yet, but we're set up to do them. Note, Orcish Lumberjack does just sacrifice forests, whereas Elvish Reclaimer sacrifices everything. I love the Faithless Lootings that just discard cards into exile directly. Alright, my opponent has tossed away 2 reanimation things. So that's good news for me. Am I going to get to draw something big, stupid, and fun here? We'll count that. We'll count that. So we'll just attack for 1 and hold up an Elvish Reclaimer activation. Serenity or something? Tear. Okay. You have answered 1. Let's sacrifice our cycle land. And I think I'm just going to get a fetch land here rather than like a combo piece or anything. I just want my Elvish Reclaimer to be a 3/4. Okay, what does that do? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available. I can do that for up to X equals 4. So I can just get a Scavenging Ooze this turn. Here's the classic Maze of Ith trick for anyone not familiar with it. After you do combat damage, you can go and untap your creatures using Maze of Ith. And note, I should have gotten rid of my Taiga and kept the Savannah so that I could cast the Swords to Plowshares in my hand. But all I was thinking about was leaving up mana for Scavenging Ooze in case my other Leyline left play. So that was poor on my end. We have our opponent on a 3-turn clock in terms of damage, though. There's a Leyline in play and a backup Scavenging Ooze beyond that. I think we're okay. If my opponent like Triple Dark Rituals, Grave Titans, or something like that, I'll be super punished for not leaving myself with access to Swords to Plowshares. Don't really have much to say here. You know, we have a Lumberjack, and he doesn't care. He's going to go and hit for 1 until my opponent does something that makes me do something with my cards. I can just get another fetch land here, thin my deck a little bit more. I think my opponent has conceded mid me searching. Jolly Zombie, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the content. Ooh, and we've queued again right away. Awesome. Oh, we are playing against Scott Official. With a questionable hand. I'm on the draw. So my turn 1 is Mox Diamond, Pitch my Grove, Green Sun for Dryad Arbor. My turn 2 is nothing. I think this one is a mulligan. Like, even if I draw a land, so like let's say I draw some land that I want to pitch to Mox instead, I have 3 mana on turn 2, then I can Knight, and I guess that's good. But if I miss out on the land in my first draw step, my hand is way worse, and if I miss it out in the second draw step, I don't know that I win. I'm gonna mulligan this one and try to take something safer. Shoop64, thank you very much for subscribing. I really do appreciate the support. This hand is similarly pretty terrible. Are we on a YOLO natural order hand? That's kind of what it looks like. Turn 1, these 3. Turn 2, Dryad Arbor. Turn 3, natural order. Oh my gosh! Jerry Freeman, thank you very much for gifting so many subs. That's absolutely crazy. Thank you very much for that support. Holy cow. Alright. Oh man, I have to keep 5 of these, not 6. So since I'm keeping 5, I think I'm going to pitch my Mox Diamond and my Titania. And we are... Oh, shoot. My opponent chose not to play first. We're playing against dredge. Manaless dredge specifically. I should have noticed that. And I should have mulliganed better. So now we're definitely having another Thursday stream next week. We've definitely cleared that hurdle. Which is good. I have a lot of things that I want to play. And my girlfriend is sort of like currently caught up doing a play for the next couple of weeks, so I have a little bit more time than usual. So I think I can pull the 3 streams plus another league for YouTube. All right, at least it's not a good dredger that they found. And I'm going to go ahead and play out my Dryad Arbor and pass the turn. Oh, yeah, 100% you'll see me again next Thursday. So I haven't charted out what I'm playing when, but I have 3 to 4 things that I owe the stream. I have I think a painter donation from a while back that I missed that I need to do. I have a Primeval Titan one I need to do, and a Splinter Twin one. So we've got things to do. So Crop Rot would be pretty killer. That, not so much. I was hoping to maybe Natural Order for that. But next turn I can Natural Order for Scavenging Ooze if, like, that's what it comes down to. It really depends on how busted my opponent's turn is. Ooh, it might be busted. So... well, they don't have creatures yet to tap for Hogak, and they haven't triggered a creature yet for Prized Amalgam. So since this is Manaless Dredge, we've got some time. I was really disappointed to see no Legacy GP. All right. I will have access to Punishing Fire my own idiot at basically any time to kill future Bridge from Belows. And that is nice. So keeping that idea alive, I actually might want to Natural Order for Ooze using the Knight of Autumn as the thing that I sacrifice. It's really unfortunate. Well, I guess it's only kind of unfortunate that I drew that. So let's sacrifice this green creature. Let's get rid of the Bridge from Belows. Actually, never mind. I have a better idea. Did you figure it out, chat? Did you figure out the better line? It's Primeval Titan. Yes, I will use Primeval Titan's ability. We're going to get Bojuka Bog, and basically any other land, it doesn't really matter what. Let's just get a fetch land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6. Yes, I will use Primeval Titan's ability. Now I guess we'll get... I guess Caracas is nice if they accidentally slip a Hogak into play. And we'll get Thespian Stage. And then on my next turn, I can get a Dark Depths and produce a Merit Lodge if my opponent somehow isn't dead. So those return tapped. So now I just very much have lethal. I just Punishing Fire the Narcomoeba, and I get in for the remaining damage that I need to do. Alright, did not expect to win off the Mull to 5. Really did not expect to win the Mull to 5 after we realized our opponent was playing Manaless Dredge. Alright. Swords, Thalia, Leyline, get in here. That's probably about it. I guess we can consider Gaddock for Dread Return, but I think that's probably going to like fall into the questionable territory rather than the like this is objectively good territory. Now, how are we boarding? There are some of these cards like Maze of Ith where like objectively I don't particularly want them, but having them around is a contingency plan against Hogak. But I think Caracas is enough of a contingency plan against that, where I can justify cutting my Maze of Ith. As weird as it sounds, I think a lot of my cards are just going to be good against this deck for a lot of like ancillary reasons. Like Punishing Fire picks off their small threats or lets me kill my own like Lumberjacks or Dryad Arbor to remove bridges. Knight searches up Bog, Reclaimer searches up Bog, Crop Rotation searches up Bog, Natural Order also searches up Bog in a very strange and indirect way, but it does it. Ooze is Graveyard Hate. Yeah, so I think despite being a little bit clunky and large, we actually have some pretty good tools here. Maybe I don't Thalia. They don't have any mana sources, so they can't pay for things. So if I get a Thalia in play, it stops things like Dread Return and Cabal Therapy, and also some of the like pitch cards that they might have. But maybe it like bumps into my own stuff too much. So I could see trimming a Punishing Fire. Maybe this isn't a Scattered Groves match because like my land's coming into play tapped is pretty bad. Applejacks is an absolute blast. I'm having fun. And then maybe I trim one piece of fat and call it good. Normally I'd like trim Primeval Titan in these sorts of matchups there, but as we saw, the ability to just natural order for Bog is pretty strong. My opponent has chosen not to play first, and I have a Crop Rotation in hand. I think that's probably fine. I'll go ahead and keep this one. So I think the correct play is actually to go Taiga Green Sun for Dryad Arbor this turn, so I can play Orcish Lumberjack while holding up Crop Rotation next turn. Is that true, though? If I just Orcish Lumberjack, I can make 4 mana with these 2 lands. I can use that to Sylvan Library and Life from the Loam it back next turn, and then replay the Taiga to crop rotation. Nope. Alright, never mind. It's better to just Lumberjack. I am a dirty liar. I didn't consider replaying the Taiga as something that would, like, give me another green source. Alright, I have to read this one. Alright, at the beginning of your upkeep, if Gigapede is in your graveyard, you may discard a card. If you do, return it to your hand. Sure. Alright. Actually, the other thing I can do is just, like, tap out and Green Sun this turn. That's probably fine as well. Just Green Sun, put my Ooze in play. And say, hey, you can have 1 dredge this entire game. I haven't seen a Gigapede in play for, like, multiple years. Alright, so my opponent gets a decent turn. Like, they're going to get 2 prized amalgams in addition to this Narcomoeba. But I think Ooze is just going to beat that out. No, my opponent is forced to discard. They don't get to just keep other cards in hand. So they're probably just going to end up feeding my Scavenging Ooze this game. Am I just dredging? I think I'm okay with dredging. Alright. So let's start here. Just Scavenging Ooze, eat the Grave Troll. Then we'll cut down some trees. Scavenging Ooze, eat the Shambling Shell. Then eat the Hogak. So I have 2 mana left this turn. I can loam back 2 lands or just play Library. I think I'll just loam. Do I want to attack with my 5/5? I take 6 damage on the crackback for it, which I don't love. Yeah, I think I'm just going to turtle up here. I take 1 damage a turn playing defensively. And my opponent is, like, basically forced to feed the Ooze every turn. And we just work towards like getting Dark Depths and killing them in one turn anyway. Do I want to play Library? Actually, alright, so let's turn off auto yields. Let's go to my second main phase. I can make 3 mana doing this. I can cut down my Taiga to play Sylvan Library, and then crop rotation my planes into just a green source that I can hold up for Scavenging Ooze. That seems pretty strong. So now I don't know what my poor opponent is supposed to do. Because now that I have this extra mana held up, when they discard, I can just eat whatever it is immediately. Oh, no, I don't get priority. Alright, so no Dredge, Life from Loam. Always yes to that, always yield to that. So we can put back 2 lands. We don't need to pay any life here. We'll just put that on top. Put that on top. Play out a fetch. Fetch. Get a green source. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can green sun for X equals 4. Is there anything I want? Not really. I kind of just want to like keep this until I get a touch more mana and we can just actually finish out the game. Ugh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Let's just go ahead and put this back. And let's put one of those back as well. Now I can play a land, Mox Diamond, play a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cast it for X equals 6. Yeah, that's probably fine. Force of Vigor, exiling my Mox and my Sylvan Library. Okay, that's fine. Or sorry, destroying. Now my opponent doesn't get to hard discard stuff. So here I can just get a Primeval Titan, use this ability, yes. So we can pick up Bojuka Bog, and then it doesn't particularly matter what from there. I'm going to take Sajiri Step. We'll just push damage with our Ooze this turn. So now that my opponent doesn't have 7 cards in hand, they're not going to get to discard this turn, so I just get to, like, swing these creatures in and not really worry about it. So not only do I have 2 different 6/6 creatures, which are very threatening on their own, I also, when Primeval Titan attacks, I'm going to get the Dark Depths from my deck. So we'll get a Dark Depths, and we have access to pretty much everything that we would need. I guess we get another body. No, I'll just get another mana. Yeah, totally fine with that trade. That's fine. Yeah, my opponent's done there. They fought valiantly, but things were slipping away from them from pretty darn early on. Apologies for the cough, by the way. I picked up a sinus infection over Christmas break, and while I'm like 90% there, my cough is lingering for like week 3 now. I guess a touch more than that, and it is what it is. We're going to ship this one. This hand does nothing. Opponent has mulliganed as well. This is an unexciting hand that I'm going to keep. I've only played ninjas about twice. I found that when it worked, it was amazing, and when it didn't work, your deck is just garbage. So like when you have an early ninja and you start drawing 1 extra card every turn, and your opponent doesn't like interact with you or do something crazy early on, like your deck is really cool and fun, but you're on a fragile house of cards. And you also have some very bad cards in your deck that enable what you're doing. So, like, for example, you're playing cards like Ornithopter in your deck, which, like, if you don't connect with it, like, you have a 0/2 flyer. That's not acceptable by a Legacy Curve standard. I'm just going to get a Forest here instead of a Punishing Fire. Or, sorry, instead of a Taiga. I know that I have Punishing Fire, but I really want to respect my opponent having like a Blood Moon, a Back to Basics, a Wasteland, or something like that. I don't want to get locked out of this game early. I am so smart. So smart. Look at me doing things. Alright, so we can loam back colorless sources. We have crop rotation to get our planes if we need to cast a Knight of the Reliquary. We can also start loaming, but I think I'll just take this opportunity to play out the Sylvan Library. The card's very good. Alright, so my opponent is playing Painter. They're going to be very sad when their Goblin Engineer gets Punishing Fire with the mana they gave me to do it. So let's always yes to this, always yield to that. Yes. Blast Zone is great. Orcish Lumberjack is awkward. It is something I can cast. It is something that I can activate. But activating it is a touch sketchy. So I think I'm going to put back Orcish Lumberjack, Windswept Heath. Play land. Punishing Fire that. Life from the Loam. Get back my Misty. And then I can dredge the Life from the Loam to clear the top of my library for Sylvan Sylvan Library. Alright, so we'll dredge. So I don't have a second green source, so this is not castable without a Mox. So we'll put this back. I guess we'll put that back. I will probably just like crop rotation. With my green mana this turn. And this clears the top of my library so I can be looking for new cards. Alright. Message received. Everything is a mountain. So we'll take our other basic here. Beautiful. Let's put that on top. Let's put that on top. We play a land. Play a knight. It's big. And we can just keep dredging with Life from the Loam to just increase the size of our graveyard. Alright. I need to find a Punishing Fire. So, the problem with activating Knight on my upkeep is that I need to sacrifice a forest or plains to do so. So we're going to sacrifice the plains in our upkeep to shuffle to get more looks for Punishing Fire. We can get the plains back with Life from the Loam, so that's not that big of a deal. Come on, Punishing Fire. Oh, never mind. Those aren't Punishing Fire, but Green Sun probably does something. So X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6. Okay, yeah, that does things. Let's pay life for everything here. Primeval Titan is so good in Legacy. That is the way that it has felt tonight. Oh no, I'm dumb. It's my Bojuka Bog plan is not going to work at all. I was stupid. Yep, Mats, it is. I just 100% punted. I should have gotten Scavenging Ooze and then eaten the Painter Servant out of the graveyard. That was really dumb. That was really, really dumb. We will confirm that my opponent knows how their cards work. But I 100% just punted this game from a very good position. So that could have been Green Sun for X equals like 1, 2, 3. Then use this mana to eat the Painter Servant that was in the graveyard. All right, I punted that one. Let's play tighter next time. Alright, so Collector Oof is a great target. Force of Vigor is great. The Source of Plowshares are probably good. And I don't think we go Leyline Deep. Punishing Fires will go and hit not Painter Servant, but it hits Goblin Welder and Goblin Engineer, so we'll keep those around. Can probably cut Maze of Ith safely. Can probably cut one other land safely. Probably cut a finisher. And then I would need to cut 2 more cards still. So Archon of Valor's reach on Artifact seems sweet. I'm against cutting Primeval Titan because that card has done serious work for me. Orcish Lumberjack is slightly awkward. It's very castable under a Blood Moon, but unless I have one of the 2 life from the loams, then actually like loaming that stuff back is really hard. I think I'm going to keep the Lumberjacks. I'm going to cut at least 1 Crop Rot. Crop Rot finds me Forest, though, which is big game, so I don't know that I want to trim more than that. Maybe like I trim a Loam, a Crop Rot to round things out. I could also see keeping the Crop Rot just to find Forest and cutting 1 Lumberjack. Force of Vigor is great and all, but I don't think this hand does enough. Let's mulligan. The deck building is perfect, and we started with 61 cards. 1, 2, 3, JJS 321. Thank you very much for following. So we'll keep this. We'll pitch the Sajiri. Is that true? No, that's not true. We can just natural order on turn 2 if I keep the Sajiri Step and pitch it to Mox Diamond. Natural order for Archon on turn 2 seems really strong. I guess we give our opponent a reason to Blood Moon us and play out Savannah instead of Forest. Don't Spirit Guide and blast my natural order. I will be sad. So I have a Bant creature in play that stops my opponent from playing artifacts. So that's cool. I'm going to get to follow it up with Knight of the Reliquary, which I also like. Note, though, that my opponent does have lines that get around this and still result in me dying via Painter. So I could just get my Oof here, but that shuts off my Mox Diamond, and I don't think I want to do that. So let's just make a 2/2 and crash on in there. So instead of playing the Knight on the previous turn, there's also consideration to playing Green Sun for X equals 2 to get Scavenging Ooze, so that I can hold up a Scavenging Ooze activation to prevent shenanigans. Which is the line that I wish I would have taken in retrospect. So my opponent can Tormod's Crypt and block with the Painter Servant to prevent some damage, but if I have something that like lets me, say, like a crop rotation, it's super punishing and they lose their Painter Servant. So I don't know that they can actually take the block. Yeah, and we see them not taking the block for just that reason. So is Ooze better here, or is just Collector Oof better? I have Lethal in the air. I don't really see myself needing white mana, and if I do, I can temporarily sacrifice the forest or something. All right, if we would have played tighter, that would be the end of the set. But we made a mistake previously, and so now we need to play game 3. I don't think I will make any adjustments for game 3 though. I love this hand. Like I have access to Force of Vigor for some of my opponent's nuttiest nut draws, and I also just have like Collector Oof, so I can beat a turn 1 Blood Moon using Force of Vigor, and then I stick Collector Oof, which is a huge problem for their deck. I am not going to play that card. Despite it being the namesake card in my deck, I want to ensure that I can get basic forest this turn. And the only way that I can play this is by getting Taiga. Yeah, that's fine. That's also fine. We're going to take this opportunity to get both basic lands. Make ourselves immune-ish to Blood Moon. And play the Oof. We don't really have a payoff for Orcish Lumberjack right now, so it doesn't matter that we're not immediately casting it. Alright. What do you got with your Goblin Engineer? Anything scary? It can only get back small stuff. Oh, alright. Just card drawing shenanigans. I believe this is a mana ability, so I don't believe that you can stifle it. I don't think you can respond to this at all. So I have potential crop rotation targets in Blast Zone right now, or part of the combo. I could use my crop rotation and Force of Vigor to just exile both of my opponent's artifacts so they can't start doing things with Astrolabe. But I'd kind of just rather hard cast the Force of Vigor next turn. Let's take my opponent off of that. And I guess I'm not going to hard cast the Force of Vigor. So maybe I will just use it and pitch the crop rotation. And just, like, use it to get rid of the Astrolabe. That is a nuisance. So now my opponent can just get another Astrolabe and try to string, like, Astrolabes into Astrolabes. I'm not expecting my opponent to have very many cards that answer the Oof. There's probably 2 to 3 Abrades in the sideboard. And that's going to be about it. I would really like to find a situation where, like, that's interesting. So that might mean my opponent has a blast in hand. I kind of don't want them to draw cards. But at the same time, if my opponent has a blast in hand, crop rotation protects from that. So life's weird. I'm going to hold my crop rotation. Don't need more land. I really do not need more land. Ugh. All right, that's not really what I'm looking for. I need a payoff card. I need something to do with this mana. I also would really like my opponent to tap the Goblin Engineer. So this is the moment of greatness. Where we hope their last card is not a blast. It is not. Oh shit, those just destroy. Why do I think Force of Vigor exiles? Alright. I can take a costly play here, which I'm going to do. All right, so we have permanently gotten rid of the Astrolabe and the Painter that are giving us trouble. God damn it. Please not land or draw. Like, give me something to do. And they have the blast for the oof now. So this costs red. Yep. All right. Well, that's good. So at least I can get rid of that. I think you're supposed to turn those idiots sideways. I think the 3 damage my opponent can be doing with Goblin Engineers is potentially important. It's interesting that they came to that decision this turn, but not last turn. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I guess there's no reason to start doing it yet. Like, until there's an artifact in play, each one of those things does nothing. We could Punishing Fire again this turn, at the cost of a land. But I don't think that's necessary. All right, we have picked off the small threats. I still need to like draw a whammy, but if we need to, Grove of the Burn Willows can just get us there. Okay. X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for no more artifacts. I think that probably does it. I don't know that they beat that on an empty board. I have 3 engineers in the graveyard already, and a Painter's Servant in the graveyard, or sorry, in exile. So their chances of getting a lot of that stuff back is pretty low. Yeah, feeling pretty good. What do you want to talk about, chat? Because it feels like my opponent is going to, like, time out due to the inactivity timer. Feels like salt. Yeah, seems like it. Oh, nope, there we go. So you can Enlighten Tutor for an artifact that you can't cast. You can Enlighten Tutor for a Blood Moon and stop me from Punishing Firing. But you're dead in 2 turns to my board anyway? I don't know what the out they could play towards is. Yeah. There we go. Rob, thank you very much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. Hope all is well in your world. So I think I played well, but not perfectly that round. I definitely made some mistakes. So what am I doing? I have the potential of, like, turn 1 Lumberjack and Wasteland my opponent. Turn 2 Knight. I think this hand is awkward, but I'm going to keep it. Orcish Lumberjack is a scary card. If my opponent's playing something that Wasteland is good against, I really like this hand. And if Wasteland is not good against them and they just go, like, Basic Island Pass or something like that, this hand's a lot weaker. Yeah, Schneff, but how do they do that on a 1-turn clock, right? So, like, I have 6 damage available, and they have 6-ish mana. So they don't get another turn to, like, play Welder, activate Welder. Or, sorry, it would have to be play the 4th Engineer. It would have to be 4th Engineer for Bridge. And so, once I had already hit them once, that wasn't an out anymore. Alright, so we're playing against, like, Death and Taxes or lands. Probably. Maybe goblins. Turn 2 Primeval Titan? Taiga, Orcish, Lumberjack is 4, 5, 6, or I can just Wasteland them and, like, wait 1 more turn. That seems fine. Behold my Black Lotus. It may look like a Lumberjack to you, but don't worry. I swear it's Black Lotus. Okay, if I fetch Taiga, I can play Knight of the Reliquary this turn. But I think playing Primeval Titan next turn is just better. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 6, and I can Primeval Titan next turn. I think that's more likely to win me the game than, like, sacrificing my Taiga this turn to Knight of the Reliquary. Yeah, I agree. Like, now it's clear that my opponent was not just, like, griefing me. You know, that's quite obvious now. But, like, when your opponent takes a huge pause right after you play what is probably, like, a game-winning card, that's often an indication of bad things going to happen. So that's like the perfect draw, right? So we Mox Diamond this, fetch this, get any forest. One, two, three. Sacrifice for green. 6. Primeval Titan. Use the ability. Yes. Let's get depths and stage. Wasteland, your Thespian stage. Call it a day. We don't need to get 2 wastelands. They have a basic forest in play. I think they're already on basically do nothing ever. So was my opponent actually dead there? Don't they just, like, Oko Primeval Titan? If I make a thing on my turn, they just Oko that? Is that a premature concession there? And I can't just, like, hold it up until their turn because they have the wasteland. Alright, so we're playing against some sort of, like, bug Oko lands deck. I probably want blasts for Oko. I can consider Veil of Summer in that it can stop my stuff from getting Oko'd. Swords to Plowshares for an opposing Merit Lodge is okay. Leyline is strong, but not a game winner. So what don't I want? Let's start there. My Punishing Fires aren't amazing against Oko. Like, normally against Planeswalkers, the Punishing Fire package is really good, but Oko has, like, such high loyalty, and the things that it makes are going to be 3/3s that I don't know that I actually want these. I could Dream a Land, but most of my lands are pretty darn good. Oh yeah, thinking about Tracker and Reclaimer, I should probably consider playing Swords to Plowshares. I wonder if I'm supposed to rely more on, like, Bojuka Bog and my large creatures and, like, my Life in the Loam interaction over the ley lines, because this puts me at 62 and is close to where I want to be. And then I can just, like, shave my cycle land and call that good and not play my ley lines. Unsure. Have literally 0 matchup experience. Alright, I think I'm just gonna go Forest and Dryad Arbor here. And then next turn, I can produce a Knight. I'm gonna hold off on the decision of like what land to discard to Mox Diamond for another turn. It's probably Taiga, but I may draw something that's worse. Ooh. Well. That's interesting. I think we're just doing that now. So I think I'm actually just going to get double Wasteland here. If my opponent Okos with all of their mana for their turn, and I have a 3/3, I double Wasteland them, and then I play Knight of the Reliquary, I think I'm okay with my position. Yes, Oko, you're obnoxious, we know. Crop rotation. That's interesting. I could Wasteland 3 times. But I think I need to play another Elk. So let's get Trop. Let's get that. Let's play an Elk. And assuming that they use their turn to turn Knight of the Reliquary into an Elk, I just kill Oko, and then I Wasteland again with this crop rotation, or work towards playing Archon. So my opponent's Oko here is extremely strong. But barring some Mox Diamond sort of shenanigans, I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm just okay with that. So we'll kill Oko, attack them. Just crop rotation for a Wasteland, get my good old Time Walk in there. I think that's probably fine. And my opponent has conceded. And just like that, take a look. We have a 4-1 with Applejacks. Everything's an elk. We have a lot of elks in this deck. Some of my elks make other elks, and that makes them strong. All right, Applejacks was a ton of fun tonight. Solnox, you might want to watch the VOD. I am just wrapping up the league, but it was a lot of fun. So thoughts on the deck list? Honestly, feels pretty good. Game one, you're pretty darn soft at combo though. Like we managed to win some game ones versus combo in this league. If you're playing against graveyard based combo, you have some outs, but there's no chalices here. There's no hate bears here. There's no Gaddock Teague as a bullet. So your best chance at stealing game ones from combo decks are off of the back of Bojuka Bog or Natural Order for Archon of Valor's Reach. I apologize to Primeval Titan. Earlier in this stream, I questioned it being in the deck because it was too much mana, and then repeatedly we just natural ordered for Primeval Titan, and in one capacity or another, it won us the game. Except for that one time where I made that mistake, and it lost us the game because I forgot about Blood Moon in the middle of searching. You don't see enough 2019 cards, you're out. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, worked out really well tonight, and it was a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed, and once again, thank you to Jerry F. for funding this stream, as well as gifting a whole bunch of subs. So I will be back again on Saturday with another stream, and then back again the next week, as always, with more daily D&T, and I've got a few other donation stream plans. So thank you all very much. I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to the Legacy Pit, who is streaming some Paper Magic. Cheers, have a great night, and if you're enjoying my content, please consider doing something to support it, whether it's subscribing to my channel or doing a donation deck list to get awesome decks like this on stream. Good night.